And so we reach the next stage of the Irish coast cycle, where I'm going to be getting the train from Dublin. I'm going to be crossing the country to the town of Sligo. Whoops. In here. And then going up through Sligo, a little bit of Leitrim, through Donegal, all the way around the very long, convoluted Donegal coast, across on the ferry to Derry, through Derry, to Antrim, down the Antrim coast, and then cutting down to Belfast, where I'm going to catch the train home again. That's the plan. However, on my way home from work on the Friday, things go a little wrong, and basically the stem of my saddle snaps onto me. Now, I had the train booked for the next day. The shop I bought the bike from didn't open till the following Monday, and I was in big trouble because you can't cycle without a saddle. Certainly can't cycle hundreds of kilometres. So I tried to patch it up with cable ties and masking tape, which gave me something very wobbly and not suitable, but I was going to give it a try. When a friend contacted me, because I'd been posting on Facebook about my woes, saying he worked in a second-hand bicycle shop. They had a lot of scrap bikes out the back, so why didn't we go hunting and see if we could find something that fitted? So that's what I did early Saturday morning. Went through probably about a dozen or more bikes and finally found a stem that would fit when it was put into an additional sleeve. Up to this point in time, I presumed saddle stems would be standardised, that there'd only be a few sizes, but it turns out no, they're not at all. This is true of a load of different bike parts. There's almost an infinite variety. So really, I was lucky that I had that contact. And thanks, Barry, because that enabled me to actually do this trip. Let's see how well it works out with that repair. So here I am, looking relieved on the train from Dublin. The one problem is that I had to get a late train because of all these delays, which meant I was only going to have about an hour till the sunset after I arrived. I'd had a few places I thought I might camp, but I decided that the most likely place I would reach would be the forest walk at the foot of Ben Bulbin. This is the view from Ben Bulbin on another occasion when I climbed it out over the bay around Sligo. Spectacular and well worth the climb. It looks pretty impressive from underneath, as we were about to see as well. I will briefly mention a couple of the other spots just in case you're recreating this trip. One of the most obvious ones very near Sligo is Ross's Point Beach. It's got the usual no camping signs, but I have done to dusk camped here before. You can just see the tents there at the bottom. I also had what was probably the best ever sunset swim. Absolutely spectacular sky. Near there is Drumcliff Churchyard, where WB Yeats is buried, and we're going to return to Yeats in a moment. But I was taking the back road that runs to the east of the main road and that winds around to this forest park at the foot of Ben Bulbin. I got there just before sunset and took a trip up the gravel track that's part of the walk before heading back to the little area of forest and the couple of paths to that itself to try and scout out a good location to spend the night. And there's a bench overlooking the bay at the western side of the forest that's pretty suitable. There's a nice little bit of flat ground there, and also it's a reasonable distance from the car park, so you're unlikely to be seen, and has some nice views out over the bay. So with that, I broke out the MSR and got it set up. I can do this in 5 minutes, and then just got that done as it really started to get quite dark indeed. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that patch of forest can be seen over my shoulder here from this video clip I filmed after climbing Ben Bulbin the previous year. And I'll also leave you with a photo of me looking heroic on the edge of the mountain. Also, maybe that's the forest in the background. Anyway, with the tent set up, I reread a passage I had found about what Yeats had written about the little folk in the mountain. We're careful about them in Ireland. That got me in the mood to break out my traditional collapsible cup of wine and take a wander around the increasingly darkening forest, enjoying twilight and then pretty much pitch blackness. I'm lucky I don't actually get spooked very much, because if I was, this would have been a good night for it as I slept in the tent. And this ended day 21 of the Irish Coast Cycle. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and please do follow the channel.